On this channel, when we talk about clone units, most of the time we're referring to large notable units like the 501st Legion or the 327th Star Corps. In this video, however, we'll be addressing a smaller clone unit. In the Grand Army of the Republic, companies were present as small, fast-moving units of 144 men plus officers, and oftentimes they were intended for specific purposes. Today, we'll be discussing one such unit, Tango Company, a unit most well known for its role in the Geonosian brainworm crisis. Tango Company was an elite unit which fought on Geonosis during the second battle there. It is unknown which larger unit they were part of, however it's implied that they might have been part of the 501st, but this is unconfirmed. Tango Company's members were skilled enough to allow the unit to have a rather striking set of armor markings. Their armor bore teal stripes and stylized tiger faces, a rather unusual choice. Though the entire company was likely present on Geonosis, we only have information about one platoon in the company, the one led by Lieutenant Trap. Trap, the leader of this particular platoon, was intelligent and fairly capable. While delivering medical supplies to Ord Cestus, he was one of the first clones infected by the Geonosian brainworms that had been released onto the ship. However, unlike some of the other clones, Trap's reason was preserved under the influence of the worm, and he chose to make the Jedi believe that he was in fact not infected instead of outright attacking them so he could surprise them later. This surprise attack failed, however, and Trap was killed by Barriss Offee.
I'll attempt to override the controls. He's infected! Get this thing off me!
Trap's second in command was Sergeant Pulsa. Considering that he was treated as the second in command, Pulsa was likely a sergeant major, the highest ranking sergeant in the platoon. Unlike Trap, Pulsa was more on the aggressive side of things, enjoying combat for combat's sake and loathing other types of missions.
Thought we were bred for battle, not running errands.
In particular, he was well known for waking up his squad by firing his blaster into the air.
Sorry, boys. Hope I didn't interrupt any pleasant dreams.
Like the rest of the Tango Company, Pulsa was infected by brainworms, but he was lucky enough to survive, unlike his lieutenant. Edge, along with his fellow clone trooper Ox, was one of the first clones to be infected by the brainworms on the trip to Ord Cestus. He was rather unusual for a clone. Because of a mutation, he had blonde hair and blue eyes, a stark contrast to the dark hair and brown eyes of his clone brethren. Edge and Ox were the troopers that attacked Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee first and were both knocked unconscious during the ensuing fight. Fortunately for them, both clones survived the encounter and were eventually freed from the influence of the worms. Another member of this particular unit in Tango Company was Havoc. Havoc, like his name suggests, was another highly aggressive clone. During the second battle of Geonosis, he racked up an incredible kill count for Geonosians, though ultimately, the bugs would get their revenge on him. Havoc was also infected by brainworms en route to Ord Cestus and helped the other infected clones hunt down those that weren't infected. Ultimately, however, he was liberated from their control when Ahsoka killed the creatures. The last notable clone in Tango Company was Scythe. Nothing is known about him or his personality before the Geonosian brainworms. He was one of the first clones to be infected and was responsible for spraying the worms to the rest of the platoon. Under the influence of the worms, Scythe was cunning, though this might simply have been the cunning of the Geonosian hive mind working through him. Ultimately though, Scythe pulled through in his struggle against the worms and presumably returned to normal afterward. Very little is known about what became of Tango Company after the brainworm incident. However, we do know one tidbit of information. The company survived into the time of the Empire. Indeed, Tango Company was instrumental in the subjugation of Lasat during the Dark Times, which, as anyone who's watched Rebels knows, was an exceptionally brutal Imperial atrocity. This could suggest that members of the Tango Company that had been affected by brainworms suffered from the lingering side effects, or alternatively, it could suggest that the entire unit was simply brutal and aggressive to begin with. So, that's the story of Tango Company, a clone unit that was infected by Geonosian brainworms. And I want to know what you guys think. Who was your favorite member of the company, and do you think their atrocities in the Imperial time was because of the brainworms' lingering side effects, or was it just because they were a harsh unit in general? Let me know in the comments section below. And make sure you check out all the links in the description below if you want to support me on Patreon, want to join our Geetsly's gaming network, or want to join our Discords. They're all a lot of fun and you can interact more with the community. Anyways guys, as always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.